You're in good company right now. I am here with Drew Deeks, my co-host John Fillion.
Bonjour.
My name is Paul Calamir, and this is absolutely coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, home of the eclipse.
Woo!
And we
Time
saw
is passing like a solar eclipse.
Oh boy!
I don't know any songs that are related to the eclipse, so I'm going to fail right now.
Eclipse,
Who sang that song? Drew?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Drew Alipa.
No way.
Yes, that's a Drew
Of
Alipa
course his name is Drew.
song.
Of course his name is Drew. Well, I guess I can take these off because we didn't need them anyway, did we, fellas?
No.
Well, you know what? The future is so bright. I think you need to wear your shades.
You know what? You're right.
There you go.
Is that the Montreal Canadiens over there? I can't even see. It's so bright.
Yeah, that's the.
I'm trying to yell away
that's
from
the
mic.
eclipse glasses.
The eclipse.
I'm trying to yell away from the mic,
eclipse.
Paul. Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you, I needed the eclipse glasses last night when I watched the Montreal games because the stars were shining bright.
Okay, like, I got to show the jersey right now, right? Like this, I just got to get it out of the way.
This is a tribute to our guy.
Can you see
There
it on
it is.
camera, guys? Can
you see it?
Yes, I get.
Look at that.
It's shining through.
There it
Stretching my
is.
legs pretty
And there's
hard.
a
Your
signature.
pecs.
Slavy!
And there's a signature there too. So there you go.
Yeah!
And we got to be proud of our guy Slafkovsky. And all I can say about last night's performance is Shane who?
Who's
I don't know.
Shane.
Who's Shane? What do you mean?
I don't know. It's a movie, I think. It was a movie, an old Western back
Well,
in the day.
Shane on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I?
Absolutely.
Did you guys ever see my apology to Slafkovsky in
Yes,
person?
I did.
Yes.
Okay, so you've seen it.
Yes.
So I think the fact that I said that back in October to him, when everyone was still debating if he should go back to Laval, now it's April 10th.
Yes.
I think it's aged pretty well, that apology so far.
I think it was well
And
deserved by Slafkovsky.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Here in Absolutely Land, nobody thought Slav should go back to Laval.
No.
That's a lie.
I wanted
Oh wait, you two.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys thought he should stay the whole
the
time.
only place
Absolutely.
I thought Slafkovsky should go from the beginning of the season last year is to the first line. That's the only
And
place
that's
we
exactly
talked about.
what he did.
Right, John?
Yes.
We talked about him on the first line. Get him up there. What are you fooling around for, MSL?
And it was Suzuki, really, who drove that home.
Yeah.
Suzuki went to MSL and said, I'd like to put Slav on the line.
Yeah, when I heard that, that's actually pretty interesting because you never really heard that kind of stuff before. Like you never hear what players are saying behind the scenes to coaches.
It's
and
a
to their
culture,
teammates.
though. That's a culture.
That's right.
I don't think that's going on in Torts' culture.
No.
Okay?
No.
It definitely didn't go on in Punch Enlock's culture.
No.
Remind me who Punch is again?
He was the coach of the Leafs the last time they won a Stanley Cup. That's why you
Yes.
can't remember that, because nobody can remember the Maple Leafs winning a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
No, and you talk about the Maple Leafs, right? Somebody said to me, you've got to give a shout-out to Matthews.
Who?
Yeah, that's what I said. Because he's going to get 70 goals. And I'm going, we don't give a good about Matthews. What do we care about Matthews?
He hasn't even scored the most goals ever, so what do we care?
How many goals has he scored for Montreal?
None.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well,
Thank you very much. That's all I want to know.
here's a hot take. It's not even a hot take. It's just, I think, the way I'm studying Juraj Slafkovsky and Auston Matthews. Juraj Slafkovsky is going to be a more complete player than Auston Matthews. And in fact, he might already be close.
Here's what I think.
I'll say it right now. I don't care. I
You're-
don't freaking care.
Yuri Slafkovsky.
I'm done with it. You think I've been wrong before? I apologize to Slav. I've been wrong.
Slafkovsky is
right.
going to win a Stanley Cup
Before
before
Matthews.
Auston Matthews.
I agree with that 100%. Because
Absolutely.
Like Toronto is closer, but you gotta put up or shut up with the Leafs right
You
now.
know what? We were closer to having a great experience with the Eclipse, but some clouds got in the way. Well, guess what? The Leafs are going to see clouds. I'm sorry. That's the way it's going to roll.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And see,
You
here's
guys
the
paid
problem.
your bills, right? There's this guy at the door there. Okay. Never
Well,
mind.
you know what? I don't know what he wanted, but
That's why we locked the door.
yeah. See, at the end of the day, though, we have seen Matthews go through how many playoffs now and never make it through the first round until last year and get knocked out in the second round. I don't expect anything different this year.
I've never seen
These
him
guys
be.
aren't gonna
I've
win
never
a
seen
cup.
him be a force in the playoffs.
No, never. He's asleep.
He looked better last year than previous years. I'll say that much about him, but when it comes to getting past the first round, that was their biggest hurdle. There was no other thing that was more important to the Leafs last year.
You know what the funny...
Listen. When we
they got
made our
smoked
run
in the second
when
round.
we made our run for the final, okay, when we came out of 18th place, made our run for the final, and we were down 3 games to 1, and we went on to win the next 3 games and beat the Leafs and go to the finals. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Suzuki and Caulfield have more series wins than the entire Toronto Maple Leafs team in the last 7 years. So think about that.
Absolutely.
Think about that. They have more
the truth.
series wins than the Leafs have. Actually, sorry, the entire Leafs organization
Yeah.
have in 20 years.
Exactly.
And that's just this current edition of the Canadiens
Yep.
from
Going
2020.
Going to the finals. You're right.
From 2021.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Now, mind you, like Toronto can change that this year. They can. Who knows if they will? I'm done talking about them right now anyway. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I didn't want to talk about them, but you know what? We got to make fun of them.
it's just interesting though, because I get the excitement. Like if we had a guy chasing 70 goals, if we had Caulfield or Suzuki for that matter, or I don't know, Celebrini if we get him. I don't know. If we had somebody chasing 70 goals, whoever it was, it would be exciting. It's just that the Toronto Maple Leafs are a fantastic regular season team.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the sentence.
That's
You know what? We've
So, like,
listen.
big deal if you get the 70. You got 60 twice now.
Absolutely.
It means jack all if you don't win at least 2 rounds this year. At least. It means nothing.
You know, it doesn't mean anything unless you win the Stanley Cup. Nobody cares whether you're the first place team in the NHL. They
Nope.
really don't.
The President's
really don't.
Trophy is a curse anyway.
It doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. If you don't win the Cup, forget it. If you don't have Stanley, get out
Hey,
of town.
listen, nothing means anything. Look at Boston Bruins last year. They set all kinds of records, games won, everything else. Blah, blah.
They beat the record for
Points,
all-time regular
blah,
season
blah,
wins.
blah. And who remembers anything except they lost in the first round to Florida?
Yeah.
That's what people remember.
That's what people
And
remember.
they never won the
Absolutely.
Stanley Cup with that team that was supposed to be the best team ever in the NHL, which we know it wasn't. It was the Habs. I mean, the Habs had the best team ever.
Yeah.
But this is what you get when you don't win the Stanley Cup. And John said it right. Unless you win that cup, all the other crap means nothing. Nobody remembers who came in second.
Yeah, and that's why the 2021 run matters.
You know what? The only thing that matters, if you score 70 goals, what's your contract going to be?
Yeah. Well,
That's what matters to Auston Matthews.
okay.
Money.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's already been taken care of. So
Well, he'll want more money though.
that's why he only signed for 5 years and not 8.
Absolutely.
But William Nylander cashed in too. So anyway, I was actually surprised that John Tortorella wasn't more upset. By the way, last night after the Philly game, he was actually surprisingly very calm. I think he learned his lesson not to go off the handle at the
Well,
wrong
you heard
time.
what he did, right?
What?
Well, what he did is he refused to take a news conference, and he said, if you want to find out why we lost 9-3, you go into the dressing room and talk to the players. And he made them all get in the dressing room, sit in front of their lockers, and take all the reporters' questions.
Yeah, no, I heard him say that.
Yeah.
But I just mean in his 5-minute whatever press conference I
He
watched
never
it.
said nothing.
He was totally calm, and he probably left it between him and the players.
I think we spoke a little earlier before we went on air, Paul and I, about the situation. I think Torts knows his time is done in Philly. What he's been,
I think he might have let this guy in.
what
I don't
he's
know,
been
he's looking
trying
at
to
him.
do isn't working. For the team, obviously. So there will be a change, and it's sad that the team is just not responding. But there's obviously conflict between.
I don't know if it's Torts or the
the,
team or
the
what, but
coach
you want me
of
to
the
let
team.
this guy in for you?
Well, yeah, you kid if you can get by the camera there. There's lots happening here today for no particular reason, other than there's nobody else here in the studio to take care of business.
Maybe it is a solar eclipse.
Yeah, well,
I get commission for receiving that
I think a lot
delivery,
of
right?
people jumped on that friggin' spaceship and took off when it was dark out.
Listen, if
Yeah, you
anybody
get commission. You
here's
get
the deal.
commission.
If anybody comes to the door and they don't have a Montreal Canadiens jersey on,
Throw 'em out.
don't let them in.
Don't let them in.
Okay, that's a new rule.
Yes. That's pretty fair, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Well, he just
goodness.
kept staring at us. I'm like, all right, we have to We have to let this guy
Staring
do his
at the
thing.
sun.
Yeah, like you probably saw him on the camera looking in the window like, like we're in some kind of a fishbowl here, right?
Yeah, by the way, we don't owe anyone any money.
Yeah.
Yet.
Just so you guys are aware. No, we have people showing up here. Anyways.
But we were just saying, like, rather than talk about the games that went by this week, Tampa, Toronto,
We can talk about the Philly game. That was fun.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that.
We don't talk about
But more
every
about
single game.
personal goals for the players and how they're reaching them and attaining the goals that,
Right.
not only they expected, that the fans expected. And I think, we can...
Surpassed, yeah.
Yeah, we can start off, if you want to get down to it, with the going through the Dirty Dozen and ending up 5-6-1. I don't know.
Better than you expected.
Better than I expected. But they were 500 hockey they played. They had 11 points out of 22. And I think that was a fantastic run through those 12 games. That's my opinion anyway.
That's 50. What was it? We said 50% of the points that they got. So 500 hockey, if you will, right? So the fact that they did that, just like the.
I kind of think we're short a period on the last 3 games previous to Philadelphia. We're just short one period. We're playing to the level of our opponent
Competition.
for two periods, and then we're just not making up that third period. Probably last year we were more in a position of maybe achieving one period. Consistently.
The last 2 seasons.
So now I think we have upped our game, and it's nice to see that I think we're kind of peaking with really almost the same team that we started the season with. So you've seen advancement and improvement, and that's important because it's the young team.
Well, the top line is the top 4 in the top 4 in scoring.
Yeah, the top line.
If it weren't for Mike Matheson, Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky are the top 3 scorers on the team.
Yes.
Did
Did anyone expect that this season? Maybe Nick. Sure, Nick is consistent. But to have all 3 of them?
Well, we wanted that. We remember because the previous season, Caulfield got injured.
Yes.
Slafkovsky got injured.
Yes.
So we thought, we're missing out here.
Right.
We're not getting the potential of these great players. So this season, we've had them healthy for the whole season. So the opportunity was for them to come into their own, or we'll call it flower into their own.
Yeah, and we always wanted to see
Tribute to
our
number
top
10.
line. Our top
Absolutely.
line be our top line, right? That's what
Yeah.
we said all year. We've been saying this all year. Our top line has to be our top line.
Top line has to come to every game with production.
And what'd you say,
And
John?
you need like maybe a goal to 2 goals a game.
That's what you said. Exactly. We've been saying that for months, and now they're giving us that.
Absolutely. So now when you get another line, like the Armia line,
Oh, yeah.
That guy is something else.
the Yule Armia line.
Oh, my gosh.
And let's face it, many people were ready to take this guy 2 years ago and put him in a garbage can.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the beginning of the season, I think.
I was gonna say that. So
He was in Laval twice.
Well, I'll admit it. I wanted to get rid of this guy a long time ago.
You want to know the funny story? My funny Yoel Armia story, very quick and
sure,
easy.
That's what we want to hear.
I think it was his first call up in October from Laval, and I was at the game, the Winnipeg game where he scored, and Montreal was losing 2-0 to Winnipeg at that point, or whatever it was. But the tying goal came from Yoel Armia. This is October 28th. It was a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday night game or whatever. But I was in the bathroom, and I heard the Bell Center horn, the goal horn go off, the Via Rail horn, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was Yoel Armia tying the game, and I missed it because I was in the bathroom.
I'm not going
using the facilities.
I'm not going to go there.
You won't. You don't have to go there with me. It's okay.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I don't know if I've ever gone to an NHL
But I missed it,
game
man.
and went to the bathroom during play.
When Joel Armia was on the ice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had to go so bad, and
maybe
my
when
cousin,
the Leafs were playing.
Yeah.
This is kind of my cousin's fault. God love him, and if he's watching, it's because I wanted to go with him while he had a cigarette, and I was like, well, okay, we got to go downstairs. We got to climb a bunch of stairs down. I want to go hang out with him. We went to the very bottom floor because we were in the 300s, right? And then I'm like, well, okay, we're gonna miss a few minutes, right? And I guess what happened was I actually missed Winnipeg's 2 goals. And then I came almost before I came back. Armia had scored. So, anyways, it was just a funny experience.
Paul and I back.
I had no respect for him at the time. I missed his goal.
You don't have to tell us what any bathrooms are.
Yeah, we don't want to know anymore.
We saw him running around his underwear. What the hell?
We don't want to know
You weren't
anymore.
supposed to say anything, Paul.
Paul 50 years
I had pants on before coming in here. You know how hot it is in this studio?
50 years ago, Paul, or 60 years ago,
Surprised I'm still wearing
more
this.
More like 60 years ago, Paul and I would have been down in the arena in Niagara Falls, Ontario, to watch our team go to the Memorial Cup. And we would have to buy standing room, and we wouldn't even be able to watch the game because we were so short, and we'd be 3 rows deep in standing room.
Yeah.
You guys are tall. Come on.
And we were like 10 years old.
Back in the Niagara Falls Flyers days.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we were 10
Niagara
years
Falls
old
Flyers.
10 years old in high school. But yeah, that's a true story, going to watch those games.
Oh, man. I miss Niagara Falls Marina already.
But
I mean, it's been a while since it's
so.
But Armia, is like just an amazing blast for us.
He really is.
He's been fun lately, yeah.
And I'm still not convinced that Montreal's going to keep him on the lineup.
He's got one more year left on his deal, right?
Yeah, he's got one
I
more
think
year, and
Armia
he's
will-
30
I think he
years
knew
old.
that.
I think
Who's
Joel Armia will be playing for the Montreal Canadiens next year.
You think so?
Well,
I do.
he's under contract.
Yeah, I think he'll start the year, but I'm not sure he's the long-term guy we're going to keep around.
Well, let's see how he performs.
What is he, 30 years old?
Yeah, he's right up there. He's late 20s.
But we still need a player
Fact check.
next year like Joel Armia.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're gonna get rid of him unless there's some kind of a trade that Hughes can pull off, and he's part of it. Somebody wants.
That's a
him.
possibility, and I
Yeah.
gotta believe a lot of GMs probably are kicking themselves,
Yep.
saying I should have taken Joel Armia
I was wrong.
back
so
in November, December.
Well, did they send him down? He went on waivers and cleared him.
he didn't clear waivers. No, he was. No, maybe he did.
He must have.
I think he had to clear.
I believe he did.
He had to clear.
He's
You're
a
right.
sizable contract.
Yeah, like somebody. You would think somebody maybe would have picked him
Well,
up.
back then though,
They didn't know he had this
that's
still
why-
in him, though.
Well, that's why he
That's
got
right.
sent down to Laval.
That's
yeah.
right.
Well, look what Laval does for players. You send
Exact-
Arbor
Xhekaj.
Same thing, right? So,
Yeah.
so he's 30 years old.
So he's
There's
30
some
years
fans
old.
We got some
going
Habs
nuts.
fans
one.
walking by.
Yeah.
Number
We have no idea if they. He's like, boo.
Here's the other thing now. Xhekaj is going under the knife.
Yes, today. He's in surgery today for his shoulder.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the same shoulder as last year, but it's shoulder surgery again. So
I think it's the other shoulder. They said.
okay.
So,
Armia, by the way,
that's fine.
30 years old and
Yeah.
turning 31 May 31st.
Yeah. So I mean,
So I don't think he's not part of the long-term plan. There's no question he's
No,
not. But
and
they
like
still
I
need to keep his size, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
And-
like
and
John
they
said,
need-
they
yeah.
might keep him.
And his skill.
And his
you
skill,
can-
and plus he's like a journeyman player. He can play in lots of different situations. Oh, you can play second line PK.
If he wants to stick around the fourth line for the next 3 years at a $2.2 million cap hit, like I'm open to that. Maybe I don't know.
Well,
But
we still have to see how people.
we're not rebuilt yet. We still need
Absolutely.
depth. We still need depth and veterans.
Absolutely.
So as easy as it was to try to part with guys, like look at David Savard in that pass to Slafkovsky, as Paul put it last show. Like,
Shevchuk.
how happy are we that he's still around? But
now you know what too? That pass.
that was pretty
So,
mint.
so that's the second. That was Slav's second goal, I think, right?
That was the hat-trick goal.
That was a hat trick goal.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm watching that and I'm going, wow, how brilliant is that? That's what's been missing from this team over the last couple of years. Somebody being able to see the ice and make a pass. So, but there's two reasons for that. First of all, you have to have that defenseman who has that puck sense and that capability of moving the puck. But you also have to have a forward who knows where to go, where to get into the center of the ice to be able to receive that pass, take it and block out an opponent so that he actually has the puck and then make something out of it.
He came off on a line change. I saw the angle, and honestly, like he was undetected, and he was undetected on a second goal too.
But he was smart enough to put himself
In
in
that
the
position.
position to receive the pass.
He was
and
stealth.
that is the huge gain with Slav.
And you know what the encouraging thing about him too is that we saw his shooting ability more last night, but man, can he pass the puck? In that Leaf game, that backhand pass to Suzuki, I know we're not going to go over every game, But like
No,
you look for the
but
bright
go-
spots,
but
right?
Exactly. Let's
That's
go
right.
specifics.
Like
that's
this
what
guy can
adds up.
pass the puck, and last night he did it again. He's got a hard backhand pass too. Never mind just a hard forehand. Like he can pass the puck like anybody else in the NHL, maybe better than a lot of players in the NHL. And he just turned 20.
He is a skilled hockey player.
He's got hockey sense, this kid.
But not only hockey sense, but he also has skill.
skill to go with
the
it.
actual skill. And this
Yeah.
is the
And
guy.
the desire to.
This
Yeah.
is the guy who spent
Right.
last year in Europe focusing on skill levels. Remember, I told you, wearing those goggles, forcing himself into difficult situations,
Like
and
that.
adding to his skill. His goggles were a little different.
I know.
Just
They
just
didn't
a-
look as these don't look as cool as Slav's goggles.
Just
I know.
a little. His were a little bigger.
That picture went pretty viral, didn't it? Like, it was just fun to see. Like, what is this really doing? We don't know. We trust that it is helping him, and I think it did.
I think it did.
Absolutely.
Like John said a few weeks ago, they got to bring that over here and give it to the rest of the players.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah.
You know?
Well, speaking of other players, I mean, did you? Okay, so I did rewatch the whole game last night, and I'm waiting for all these 9 goals to happen because they didn't happen until like halfway through the second period, right? We scored. Slav got his first goal on the Matheson tip in the first period, and then it wasn't until the second period they really blew it up. But
That's right.
Josh Anderson's body language last night was a lot better, and I just think that it was hilarious that when he scored on a breakaway that he wasn't getting a lot of opportunities like he used to, like those kind of breakaways where he just like leans in and just beats his check.
Yeah.
And he ended up just pushing the puck in basically by accident, and he just had no reaction at all on his
No.
face. Like he's just like, oh, it went in finally. Oh,
Well, I think too.
Okay.
I mean, what was score when Anderson scored? Was it like 5?
that was 4 or 5-0, I think. Yeah, it was.
exactly. And so it's.
It was just
I'm
funny.
sure
I'm like,
Anderson's like, yeah, I
gotta
got,
be relieved.
I got a goal, but it's not like it's an important goal because
He didn't even see it go in.
because
Yeah.
Slav has already put 3 in.
You got
You
to
know?
think of all the chances he's had and the beautiful chances, setups he's had.
Yeah.
This is the one that goes in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it was
You know,
like it was surprising that he wasn't like, oh, like I deserve that. Like I'm happy. He didn't show any emotion. Nothing.
Wasn't a pretty
Nothing.
goal.
It was
but
like, oh.
what was nice is that Anderson still is driving to the net.
He had his
He
game back
hasn't
last
given
night.
up.
Yeah, last several games, his body language was not good. I didn't think it was good at all, and it just seemed like he just, like I mentioned to you guys before, and even the broadcasters, other podcasters I mentioned, he can't wait for the season to be over. But last night you saw him come alive again, and it was just nice to see, right? Like I still like the guy as a player, and I think they've talked about him bouncing back next year. We'll see how the roster fills out and whatever. But it was nice to see him get that one, and then Brendan Gallagher getting 2 goals, Christian Dvorak getting 2 goals.
First game back.
Christian Dvorak.
I didn't think we were gonna
is
see
really
him.
nice to see.
Yeah,
That's
he was
really,
on the 4th. He was on
really-
the 4th line when he did that.
That's
too.
really nice to see. Yoel Armia. I mean, imagine how Yoel Armia last year, Yoel Armia this year, right? Just like 2 different people.
New career high in goals too. By the way, 17 is his
Yeah.
career
So,
high.
so he's just. I mean,
You're right, though.
He's walking on sunshine.
Yeah.
You know, like solar sunshine, and and let's hope. Easy now.
Yeah,
I'm having fun, guys. I'm trying
Let,
here.
let's
Sit
let's
on
hope.
something or
Let's
what
hope.
happened there?
I'm walking.
Can I have a
Wait-
drink of that, please?
He's having way
Let's hope.
way too comfortable in that chair, I think.
Let's hope
I'm
that
loose today.
Josh Anderson has the same type of career as Yoel Armia has had over the last 2 years.
I mean, Josh got 20 goals last year.
But let's hope that
Like-
this is that his tough year, and next year is a great year. For him.
Next
I
year
thought
is
last year was his tough year.
well. He's streaky. He's streaky, right? Like that's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But I know you're not an Anderson fan. Okay,
Well, it's not that I don't like the guy. I really
you want
like
production though. You want production.
But the bottom line is the bottom line here. Like 7 goals or 6 goals, whatever he's got. And he did that in about 2 weeks. Because he had nothing to then, and then he scored 3 or 4
Early in the
5.
season, yeah.
And then he nothing after that. I mean, that was his first goal in how many games?
And
Yeah.
he was known
I
as
don't
a
know.
leaf killer, and we don't even hear that anymore.
Well, I know that's what I mean. Like when I went to like I said, that home opener, and anyway, but the thing is, like you said, hopefully he can do what Yoel Armia did because he's still got 3 years left on his deal. Armia has 1 year left.
and
you gotta-
Anderson is what, 27?
Anderson's a little young. He's 28, I think. But the thing with Armia too is I'm wondering if it was Marty a combination of Marty in his ear and maybe his agent in his ear saying, you got 1 year left on your deal. If you want to cash in one more time, you're going to have to play good or it ain't happening for you.
Yeah,
So
I'll say it's NSL giving him the environment and culture to get his confidence back.
that's
Well, did you
that's what I'm
notice-
encouraged by.
It's
Did you
confidence.
notice when he started all this? I think finally The Rock has returned. I think finally
come back.
I think finally they put him on with guys who he gels with, Gallagher and
Newhook?
Newhook.
Like, I know.
mean, he just is
Gallagher needed it
thriving
too.
with these guys, right?
Yes.
And finally they
Absolutely.
found, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. They found where his piece fits.
Yeah.
And since then, he's been like unbelievable. So
I mean, you're assembling lines. I
You
mean,
are.
Imagine this. Back in the early 60s, when trades went down, sometimes the entire trade
Getting close, yep.
the entire trade would be about an entire line. Mm-hmm. I remember Rangers Canadiens doing a trade in the 60s, and it was like Marshall Goyette and Jean Rattel or somebody like that, like 3 guys being traded for another 3 guys because they kept the line intact.
That's what we haven't had is the lines intact
You can't trade people like
year
that
in and
anymore.
year out. Yeah. You can't do that
because
anymore.
of cap.
And the Caps, yeah, you're right about that.
yeah,
So it's changed the game.
it has.
We're going to take a brief commercial break, Mr. Paul Kalemir.
Well, that's all right. We're just going to continue on here while you adjust your
That's cool.
vision, your camera here.
Did we say hi to the Drew Deeks viewers at all today?
Hello, everybody.
So-
good to see you. Good to see you.
I don't even know. Anyway, it's all good. I think everyone appreciates that.
They'd
We're just-
always tell me I have a face for radio, so that's
well, that's changing now. You got a face for YouTube now.
Well, there you go.
So you're welcome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I am thrilled.
We'll be right back.
I'm not, yeah.
Thing I'm here for. Start over.
Again,
Newhook.
think about
Newhook.
Think about Alex Newhook. I mean, last year, Kent Hughes took 2 draft choices, and in the first round,
First round and a second round pick.
and traded them for Alex Newhook. And there was a little bit of grumbling.
Yes, there was. Not anymore. I don't
But what
think.
we've done is, instead of having 2 prospects who
Maybe.
who would be, I guess, maybe playing college hockey, maybe playing OHL hockey,
Yeah.
not probably even having the potential to get to the big team for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
We have a guy who is with the big team, flourishing.
He's ready right now, and he's been showing it since he got back
Yes.
from injury,
And
especially.
so, you know, how we've been speaking about, you know, what's the life of a Yoel Armia with this team in the rebuild? What's the life of Josh Anderson with this team in the rebuild? Well, we know that Alex Newhook is part of the rebuild.
We know that for sure.
And he is flourishing.
He is.
His ceiling, like, you know, he still has a ceiling to reach.
That's the encouraging part. Like, you can't not notice that guy on the ice. I mean, he skates so good. My dad is, you know, around your guy's age, I'm presuming.
Whoa,
Okay,
whoa, whoa,
7.
whoa, whoa.
Just settle down. You're so sensitive, you
He's,
two.
he's a little bit younger than us.
Yeah, exactly.
He's 71. Or he's
Okay,
going to be
well-
71.
Oh,
Well, there you
gee.
go.
Okay, so he's lived through a lot of the great eras
He's
as
older
well.
than us then.
Yeah.
So there you are. So I mean, he really likes Alex Newhook so far, and there's good reason for it. He hasn't been here very long, but I mean, 31 points in 51 games. The guy knows how to score. The guy knows how to skate. He knows how to make plays. He's on the power play. When Sean Monahan left, he stepped right in, and he's been able to fill that role a little bit. So
Habs, and plus he's been injured for a period of time and came back and is playing great.
yeah.
And, you know, like if you look at the Dirty Dozen, I mean, he had 9 points, 3 goals, and 6 assists in those 12 games. So
Quietly.
That's impressive.
Quietly.
quietly.
On the Armia Gallagher
Because
line,
everybody's talking about Slav, everybody's talking about Suzuki, everybody's talking about Armia, and Newhook is delivering.
Yeah, he's
as
sliding
well.
right in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I got to give him credit. I mean, I like watching him, and then put Gallagher with 2 goals last night. Gallagher on that line, he's in front of the net, always digging around.
That was a nice tip too.
He can't even help himself. This
Uh,
guy.
Absolutely.
But the way he scored that goal in front of the net last night, and not really like overly agitating players, and like he did at one point he fell into the goalie. I remember
Yeah,
that part,
yeah.
and it was totally accidental. But of course, it caused a scrum. But I mean, I just want to see him be more effective offensively like that than just have to rely on him if he's not scoring. He's just got to agitate the other team, and it doesn't produce anything. I want to see him do something productive for the team, and he certainly did that last night. And the breakaway too. I mean, that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like a guy like him, you're still rooting
Yeah,
for
yeah. Oh, yeah.
for what he's being paid, for all the criticism for what he's being paid. To see him flourish with Armia and Newhook's really encouraging. So hopefully they either keep it together or they find another line mate for him next year, and he continues to be productive through the rebuild because he's not going anywhere right now.
So if that's your second line right now, right?
That's
definitely
And we bring in some prospects over the next 2 to 3 years.
Kirby
that
Doc.
Well, never mind. Doc's got to
that
come back.
become-
Kirby Doc.
That become
Yeah.
the second line.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a really nice third line, won't it?
Kirby, well, yeah, so you figure who... I don't even know who's going to be on the second line next year because I know it's going to be Kirby, but I don't know who his line mates are going to be. But if your third line is Gallagher, Armia, I think Newhook will challenge for the second line, though, with Kirby, though.
But you know what I'm saying. If you
But
have a
if
third
you have
line
this as
that is as strong as your current second line, you're sitting in a much better position.
Well,
Yeah.
I was hoping Harvey Pinard, HP sauce, could come up and be
But-
part of
but
those top three lines. But
there's a guy named Joshua Waugh.
yeah, where is
I almost
that
forgot about Waugh. He's
Who's
injured.
hurt.
So he's injured. That's right.
So when he comes up, he can easily fit into one
He
of
can
those
easily slide
roles.
in. And what about Gignac?
Gignac.
Yeah. What about
And
him?
we're going to find out about him.
I don't think he's going to be a Canadian long term. I
No?
think I don't see that. But
He's doing good in Laval.
he plays so much. He does. He's playing very well in Laval. That's the thing. He's a great leader. He's a great captain. Great player. I don't know. I don't want to say no. I don't want to say no just yet.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out at the end of next training camp.
Yes, next training camp
Then
will
we're
tell
gonna
us. Will tell us quite a bit. But speaking of Jack guys,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh boy.
we got a new Jack guy
Oh,
in
I
town.
love it.
We got the deputy.
They signed him.
Right? So Florian Xhekaj signed his 3-year entry-level contract, as I did mention on my channel. I did
And that
a brief
is
video.
exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole story of the Jack guys coming to the Canadiens. It's fabulous.
I bumped into Jack at...
Aye.
I dun, dun. Anyway, no, I bumped in. Is his name Jack? Your third co-host that was in here with
Jack
you,
White.
Jack White. Thank you, Jack. I love Jack. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
I want to have him back on the show with you guys. It'd be fun to have the four of us or something. But I
yeah,
bumped
we
into
can do
him.
it.
I bumped into him at the Ice Dogs game, and we were both there for the same reason to see
The hot dogs?
No, that's a Bell Center thing for that. So Florian Xhekaj. And that was the reason we were going to see the game. It wasn't to see the Ice Dog. This is like in the October, November, or something like that. But I bumped into him, and he just looked at me, and he's like, "Yep, you're here to see him too, right?" I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah.
This place is busy today. Oh my gosh!
I don't know what's going on here.
But it's all good. But anyway, he's in Laval. He's been assigned to them for the rest of the season, which is encouraging to see that his OHL season, which by the way was not even close to his first one. He became a point per game player offensively. He's basically a Mike Pizzetta hybrid, I like to call him. He's going to have a much, I don't know how much of a higher ceiling, but like for me, I'm expecting a lot more offensively out of Xhekaj than Pizzetta. Mm-hmm. You know what you're getting out of Pez. He's going to finish every check. He's going to drop the gloves. He's going to do what he can to do his job on the fourth line, but I think the ceiling could potentially be a third line player for Florian. I don't know, but fourth line for sure. But if he's on your fourth line, that's going to be a good producing fourth line, hopefully at some point in the future.
He really is. And think of Pizzetta with 15 goals on the books or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Florian can score.
Florian can score. He can hit. He can fight. He's a big kid. He's 6'4", 190 pounds, and
so
still
he's a nice size. He's growing.
He's not even 20 years old.
So he's still growing. Like he will get.
He's a
heavy.
Jack guy.
Yeah, he'll get.
He's
heavy.
big.
Well,
Oh,
if
yeah.
he's 6'4" and he's 190, he muscles up a bit. He'll get 210.
How many
Yeah.
How many goals did he have this year?
33, I think. So
Yeah.
he had 60 in 63 games. He had 65 points. So 33 goals or something like that. I just mentioned it yesterday.
Well, that's a nice ratio. A goal,
I'm gonna pull it up here anyway, just to
a
fact
goal
check.
every
but
other game. I can live with that.
that's what I'm saying. Well, he was a point per game player, and the year before that, he wasn't even close. So let's just bring up the stats while I actually have
Yeah,
it.
bring up the stats.
So,
Let's see some stats here. I
Last
love
year,
stats.
Last year with the Hamilton Bulldogs, 68 games played. He played every single game last year in the OHL. 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points in 68 games. This year, 63 games played. He missed a few. 34 goals, 31 assists, 65 points in 63 games.
Significant.
So
Significant.
a significant increase, and nobody improved their production out of all the Habs prospects this season more than him. So Machar, Beck. Actually, Beck did have a career year in the OHL between Saginaw and Peterborough, but nobody increased their production at the rate that Florian Xhekaj did this year. So that's why you're seeing him in Laval. It's awesome.
Exciting.
So
That's exciting.
Even more reason to keep your eyes on Laval with Reinbacher there, with Florian there. Like, these guys are pushing their way in, man. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
And rightly so. I mean, they are playing fantastic. They're good players that we need on our team. And that's going to bring us to the next bunch of players here. We've given praise to all these people, but where do guys like White and Pearson, Anderson, Harris, Barron, Harvey Pinard, Yonan, Ullinen, where do they all stand? I mean, we don't hear their names. They're not really doing a lot. Harris and Barron, they're not a replacement or even close to Gooley and Xhekaj.
I'll give Harris credit for that pass to Slafkovsky last night on his second goal.
Okay, he did one.
Or no, sorry, that was Dvorak's goal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Nick Suzuki made the pass to Slav on his goal.
And even,
but Harris has offensive abilities. I've seen it from him, but I don't know what his future holds. Though.
And even Struble,
one of the things that we need
Struble
for
too, yeah.
defensemen is defense.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I think that's where Harris has a disadvantage, maybe, because defensively he's responsible, he's smart. Offensively, he has some ability, but you need guys back there that can hold the fort and try to keep pucks away from Montembeault, who also had a very good game last night in Philly or against Philly, and you want to minimize the chances against, and I think that's what we haven't quite got to, and that's why we need better defensive defensemen to do that.
Absolutely,
is what you're saying.
Yeah,
So are these the two
need
guys?
We need a couple real defensemen.
Well, Barron and Harris, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know about. I'm not sold out on Barron
You've got
yet, though.
Reinbacher and Hudson coming up at one point.
Well, Mayu as well, but Mayu is also
Right.
more of an offensive player, so that's where we hope to see. But so
and
is
don't forget
Reinbacher.
about, we still have Weidman.
Is he still here?
Oh yeah, he's injured.
Yeah. Well, Engstrom, apparently another prospect for the defense for the Canadiens, Adam Engstrom is playing over in, is it Finland or Europe? And
Right, I think
he's
so.
in the playoffs right now, and they're performing very well. So there's such an influx of defensemen still coming to the Canadiens.
Yeah,
But like I say,
and we got
so-
Savard to deal with too.
we got to shore up the
Savard and Matheson. Matheson, we got to talk about him in a minute.
we
too.
got to shore up the actual defense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We got to get them playing a little more defensively.
Yes.
That's
where Gooley and Xhekaj
That's
and-
where you'll start to win games against Tampa Bay, against Toronto, against New York. Mm-hmm.
And we beat the Rangers at least once.
But when you take away 1 to 2 goals a game because of your defense, and you're contributing now offensively, now you're winning those games.
the balance, that's what it seems like. The balance, like right now, defensively they're down here. Offensively they're about here. But they're going to rise up together, right?
Yeah, it's like the sun is here and the moon is here.
And then all of a sudden,
the
the moon covers the sun.
there's an eclipse.
Oh my gosh!
There's an eclipse.
We can't help it,
And
okay?
you win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I'm
with you. One from you too, buddy? What's up?
Nah,
Don't leave me hanging, Paul.
that wasn't that good.
Come on.
Hang
It
on.
really wasn't.
Yeah.
Hang on.
For friend's sake, for Habs' sake.
For Habs fans' sake.
Yeah, for absolutely sake.
For absolutely sake.
There are little things we got beat last night doing a line change, or in maybe it was the Tampa Bay game, I think, in the second period, a line change created a goal for Tampa Bay. Those types of things an elite team has to not let happen.
Yeah.
Those are mistakes you cannot make.
And that's why I like Marty's way of teaching them how to play without the puck, because that's what they've really...
But that's a coaching thing, the line change.
Sure. But, everything's going to come with time. They're chipping away at it here. And
the PK needs improvement still.
Of course, that comes down to defense too, and also discipline and
absolutely
being in the right positions and not to have to take penalties and all that good stuff.
But this is why these last 12 games, when I look at them, they're so important because we're seeing everything you guys just talked about come to fruition. Okay, is it perfect? No. Like John said, we need work on it. But it's a lot better than it was in November.
Yes, it is.
And the players,
Absolutely.
right? So that's the progression that we want to see when it's all said and done.
Well,
and we're seeing it. Beautiful.
I mean, one of the big things, of course, is puck management, right? And like last night's game, an excellent example of puck management. I mean, how many passes were made before Slafkovsky put the puck in the net on the first and second goals?
The first goal especially.
There had to be like 6-7 touches.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. We want to see that movement right to left. And instead of us generally we're watching a team dominate us 5-on-5 in our D zone. Now we're dominating in their D zone 5-on-5. That to me is gratifying to see.
Yeah, for sure. And that starts with Mike Matheson, a lot of it too, I think.
And you can just see the synergy between Suzuki and Slafkovsky. I mean,
yeah,
Suzuki passes the puck, and I don't even think he looks. He just knows Slafkovsky's going to be there. It's amazing the way those two together are playing hockey. It's mind blowing.
And with that line, what will happen is that the focus will be sometimes you'll get two people going on the guy with the puck. So now before it was always Caulfield was being watched. Now two guys are going to Slafkovsky. He's a great passer. The next thing you know, Caulfield's got the puck and he's putting it in the net from a pass from Slav.
And then you got Nick Suzuki who can do whatever you want. He's a Swiss Army knife. I mean, that guy can do
really
everything.
is.
Exactly. And when Slav and Caulfield aren't producing, who puts the puck in the net?
Nick Suzuki. He's
Suzuki.
got more goals than all three of them.
Yeah, and that's when he contributes that offensively. Otherwise, he's sitting back and setting them up. But if they're covered, then he will take ownership of that puck and score the goal.
They call him Slick Nick for a reason. He is slick.
Well,
He is.
He's sliding around the ice, and all of a sudden he's open. That one pass there, Caulfield whacked the guy the one game, and he got it out to Suzuki standing right downtown in the slot. And that goalie didn't even have a prayer. I mean, it was like shooting fish.
There was no prayer to live on there.
No, there was no living on a prayer in that one. Seriously. So, it makes you happy to see where this team is going. And you want to talk about Matheson, and I want to talk about him too. I love this guy.
He's going to have a 60-plus point season. He's at 59 right now. And he's a high-risk, high-reward player, but he's playing more minutes than he ever would have if the Canadiens had an older defensive core, right? They're super, super young, and he's playing more minutes than he should. But the thing is, he also took the opportunity to be the Habs' top defenseman and ran with it, offensively specifically. And he does come with those mistakes and here and there. Like even like last night, like you're watching him, you're like, oh boy, he's gonna cough it up here, and right, like there's little plays where. And sometimes he does cough it up, but what he's brought to that team offensively, just from a power play quarterback sort of perspective, and just from a leadership perspective, and thank God he's still around. Hopefully, when Lane Hutson gets here, because, well, I don't know who's going to teach who how to play better defensively, though. That's the only concern I have, maybe. No, but I mean, then you got David Savard there too, right? So it's just cool to see that this guy has the most points since PK Subban as a defenseman, and. I said he's at 59, so he's got last night.
And PK Subban, relied on the power play in his shot.
And Andrei Markov. And Andrei Markov, let's not forget him. The General Markey, we used to call him.
But, we were constantly setting up the point shot for PK.
Well, the good thing then, the guy said it last night on the broadcast. He said that there's a lot more goals coming from defensemen.
Yes, this
year.
Season.
And
big time.
And we're right in line with that. Habs aren't on the outside looking in on that one because our D has scored a lot of goals this year.
They were number 1 at one point next to Colorado, or number 2 next to Colorado. And that was pretty impressive to see. That's from Gooley, Struble. Jack only has 3 goals this season, but even Kovacevic had buried some.
There's another guy we haven't mentioned.
That's stepping up into the play, okay, and that's playing tight at the blue line for sure,
and just reading and reacting properly.
But again, that can bite you in the ass.
It's bit them a lot. It's bit them a lot overall.
You've got to be very careful with that on the other end.
Yeah, well, 'cause we're
Matheson's-
also leading the league in shorthanded goals against. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say Matheson is leading the team in minus at minus 25, and take what you will with that, but that's what you get.
Well,
Well, he also plays
So-
a lot of minutes.
and
He
plays,
does.
and he also plays on a 27th place team.
Yeah.
yeah, but he plays a lot of minutes, and that's another thing too. If you bring in more talent, Matheson won't have to play as many minutes.
Well, that's the idea, and that's why you can't ship him out the door. I mean, like people get so frustrated with him the way he plays, but right now you can't really like next year. David Savard, most likely it's going to be his last season with the Canadiens. That
I
makes
think
sense
so.
to me. But you don't have to push Matheson out the door so soon. You still need a veteran presence.
Well, I mean,
You still need
again next year. Who's going to be on the team? I think maybe it's going to be Logan Mailloux.
I think Mayhew's going to make the jump. I don't know if he's going to play the whole season, but I think he'll make the jump and get at least. Well, he'll get as many games as Justin Barron got this year.
I think Reinbacher and Hudson they're going to be in Laval
Yeah, and I think Mayhew will be the first one to
come forward.
come up and play with the Canadiens out of all those guys, and then you figure out who Justin Barron is because I'm not giving up on Barron yet. I don't know what his ceiling is or what have you, but it showed this season that the amount of games that he played, it was too much for him, and then he got sent down to Laval. So we'll see what happens, but Mayhew will be the next one ready out of the young D prospects.
So,
for sure.
John, your 3 stars of the week.
So-
Le troisième étoile pour la semaine dernière.
The troisième étoile is Florian Xhekaj.
I love
you
how
go.
I love how he picks guys that haven't played a single game yet, or like the coaches.
I'm loving the fact, as you stated, his amazing production this year, his amazing growth,
Yes.
and the fact that Montreal now has signed him to a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely cause to celebrate for all.
I like the
Habs
way you
fans.
name your stars though, because it's not just based on the guys who played in the last several games. You're picking it out of the whole franchise.
Absolutely.
Like you pick players, coaches. I like how you do it. Yeah.
Merci,
Premier étoile.
merci
Yeah.
beaucoup. Le deuxième
De rien.
étoile
Le deuxième étoile.
is your Armia.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you.
I mean,
there.
you-
He's
you are
he's been
me,
delightful.
Which is so weird to
has been
say.
contributing
Didn't expect
so
it.
much to this team. He's in the zone.
Yeah.
He is in the zone. He is comfortable being a hockey player who's French Canadian
Armia is from Finland.
or from Finland, who's playing, but he's always had high expectations.
Armenia.
Okay, they've always put Armia, like they've had these big expectations for him. I think he had a hard time living in the culture of the city.
Maybe. And maybe under the
And now I think he's finally comfortable
Yeah.
with being Yoel Armia, living in Montreal, Quebec, playing for the Montreal Canadiens.
He's settled in.
And
does seem to have- he found himself.
It speaks to his confidence.
It does. It does.
And
It
that's
also-
what
yeah.
we're seeing with Yoel Armia.
And you can't like Newhook and Gallagher are playing very well with him, but you got like it all started with Armia.
Absolutely.
He's the straw that stirs the drink on that line. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Newhook and Gallagher are both. They're all doing well. But Armia had to become this version of himself before that line could get anywhere.
And he's still filling in on the PK. He's doing.
He's the best penalty killer by far. Far.
He's doing so many things.
Somebody pointed it out to me early in the season when he was like still up and down between Laval. They're like, Armia is their best penalty killer. I'm like, okay, maybe you have a point because I remember he does play a lot of minutes on the PK. But then when you watch him, like the guy's constantly clearing the puck and he's getting in lanes and he's turning pucks the other way. He's got shorthanded goals this year too.
Absolutely.
So some of those 17 goals are shorthanded. I think 2 or 3. But the point is, it's really encouraging to see a guy like him who we were just again ready to write off and send him into the sunset.
Send him
Thanks for
packing.
coming out. Right. Thanks for the 2021 playoff run and what you did there. But
The other
it's-
reason I like your pick, John, is because some of these players we expect great things from, like Slafkovsky and Suzuki and Caulfield. Like, we expect them to be the guys who are carrying the team.
Yeah.
That's what we expect. But when you get a guy like Armia who steps up and gives you 20 goals for the season, he's got 17.
Yeah.
He may hit 20, you never know.
Give or take,
But,
yeah.
But that is something that doesn't get mentioned, and it's important that it does get mentioned. So congratulations on that pick.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure he's felt like he's had somebody's foot on his forehead last year, and now that foot is removed.
So le troisième étoile, the third star.
No, the third star was Jack.
Premier étoile, premier.
Le premier étoile. We always
étoile.
we do the first star.
Okay.
And now the
we got
first star, le
Slafkovsky.
premier étoile, is of course Juraj representing. Juraj
I was about.
pretending he's Slafkovsky.
Yep, that's the guy right there, and you're right.
So I mean,
I'm still sorry, by the way.
I mean, Slafkovsky, what a great game for him to get his first hat trick.
Yep.
Okay?
So fun, though. Just so fun.
His potential is just amazing. I mean, he's really lived up to what everybody believed we needed to be a first-round draft pick. Guess what? We have it.
First overall pick.
We have it.
We got him, and not just his 3 goals. That was great. Let's face it, we were all happy about that. But his season,
Absolutely.
season.
Everything that he is doing for this team.
and he's only 20 years old. He just turned
He's still
20.
scratching the surface, man. Like that's the cool thing.
He
was the talk of Twitter last night, X, whatever. And like I go back and forth on social media. I'm trying to take breaks here and there from it. But when he's the talk of it from other people that are typically talking about other teams.
They're talking about like Connor Bedard.
Yeah, they're talking about the Bedards and the McDavids and the Matthews and the McKinnons of the world, and that's all great. But when this guy's being mentioned at this point, it's because he's starting to get your attention. He's starting to get other teams' fan base's attention. That's what's cool. The Slafkovsky bust crowd is dead silent right now.
You know, and I have no disrespect to Connor Bedard, no disrespect to Auston Matthews, but
Are you sure?
I want a player.
That's not how we started the show.
I want a player like Slafkovsky.
we've changed.
I want a player like Slafkovsky who is actually going to be a part of a team culture, a team that is going to try to win not just one Stanley Cup, but 3 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
And that's the key here. We're building a dynasty.
Absolutely.
We're not building.
They're trying to bring back.
one and done.
They're trying to bring back that feeling again. Like
Yes.
you get that feeling that's the feeling they're trying to bring back.
Well, they're trying to bring back some Stanley Cups.
The glory days, but the new glory days.
Well, you know my buddy Kevin Chopper.
Yes.
Kevin. He said to me.
Speaking of Chopper, yeah.
He said to me, "There's a Chopper." He said to me that he goes, "Boy, Montreal's looking like they're going to be a force next year." I mean, that's a big statement. From
That
Chopper.
sounds like a
Who does he cheer for?
You know what? That sounds like a typical scared Bruins fan.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. So there you go. I mean, when people start, even guys who don't like Montreal at all, I mean, start saying good things a little bit, just a little. It's just like the eclipse the sun broke through, just a little bit. Then you got to say something's going on.
Eclipse.
There you go.
You got on board with us,
Got
didn't
on
you?
board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? I got a text this morning from my cousin Yves Fillon in Montreal.
Okay.
Now in Montreal,
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
every day you get a newspaper. Still, probably they still probably get that daily newspaper, like their version of the Toronto Sun. It's probably
The Gazette.
No, I think it's the Mirror or
No, it's the
something like
Gazette.
that. The Gazette's a broadsheet.
Ah, well, I'll
Okay,
shut up
so-
then.
Exactly.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so there'll be a story about the Habs on the front page right away. No matter what they did, whether they were great, whether they were bad, whatever, who's
The
getting
world's
traded.
ending. No, the
It's
Habs won. You can wait.
There's always going to be a story about Montreal. So I get a text this morning. It's like, whoa, what's going on? You know, we win a game 9-2. What's going? It's like because. And that speaks to what's going on in that city. Like that city will roll as the team rolls. And
Sure
so
enough.
now they're starting to get excited about the fact that there's a team that is winning big now. Like, wow, we won a game like by a large score. What's going on? Because they're used to, like, we lost again. We lost in overtime. We lost in a shootout. Things are changing, you know?
You're seeing signs of it. You're getting that sense, and I think the fans are in anticipation mode because they're sensing what is going to be, because some of it's already here. with some of these players. So
Absolutely.
it really is. The buzz is
the buzz.
starting, and you beat a team last night like Philly who needs the points to get into a playoff spot.
Desperate.
And Montreal just steamrolls them, and
Yeah.
it's a game you needed. I mean, they lost a couple of games. They dropped down to 5th last place, and we have a better chance at like a fifth overall pick or higher or whatever.
It warms the cockles of my heart.
Warms the what?
The cockles of my heart.
Is that actually part of your heart?
So this was posted on Monday by the Habs.
There you go.
And it was their solar eclipse post.
With Slafkovsky and the goggles.
Absolutely.
That eclipse did wonders for our team. So, like, if we have to wait another 400 years, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to order another eclipse.
We almost had to cancel it.
I'm not waiting 144 years.
We almost had to cancel it the other day.
We almost did, yeah. So let's roll because we got to get through this all. We're
Yep.
at the. Let's roll just on to next week's games real quick. We'll touch on them. Thursday, that's tomorrow at the Islanders. I'm saying
Primo?
Yeah, Primo's going to start. I agree, John.
Yep.
And I think we're going to beat the Islanders. They're really nothing great. Okay, they're going to be in the playoffs, but I don't see them being a really team that's going to kick our ass.
We play them well.
We play them well.
Who's coaching the Islanders now?
Patty Waugh.
Who?
Patty Waugh. Patrick Waugh. He's coaching them.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Oh, that
the greatest goaltender in the history of hockey. That guy.
The one who's going to be coaching the Canadiens in 3 years, right?
Yes, that's right.
You got it.
He's pitching on.
You guys, I tell you.
Drew's catching on.
You can't tell me what... Anyway, we'll talk about Marty's. Marty's going to be extended next year, so you guys are crazy. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. But anyway, Patty Waugh, he's going to bring us... we're going to see him now at his home rink. He's not coming to Montreal,
Yep.
so we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good game.
I think it'll be a great game.
You know, it's going to be...
I think Habs have a shot to win this one.
You know, it's going to be, I think, an intense game, and it's too bad Arbor won't be in it. Gall darn it.
Yeah.
Because he should have been in it against Toronto, against Ryan Reeves, and Pizzetta, unfortunately,
Yes.
had to answer that bell.
I think Sammy's going to get the last home game.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the last home game.
For sure.
And the Wings, I mean,
The Wings aren't so good in Detroit. I like them in Buffalo.
yeah, they're 44-4-2 in their last 10. They're fighting for their playoff lives. Being 1 point out of a wild card spot, so they could jump a wild card. So Montreal could really seal their fate. I mean, we could put these guys in the crapper. And we play the Wings all right. I mean, they got a good team. I mean, they're not bad.
We're
not bad.
They're rebuilding. They rebuilt quickly.
Yeah, they rebuilt quickly. So they're going to be two good games. I tell everybody, you got to watch them. They're going to be two great games to end the season. And we just might play the spoiler, especially if we win the first one against them. That might put them in the can.
That'd be fun. To put Philly out of it, too, was kind of fun. I mean, I told you, John Tortorella, I didn't even mention it earlier in the show, but I mentioned it last time I was in here, that he just doesn't, and he even mentioned the Bell Center last night. He mentioned it. He's like, this is a hard barn to play in. He actually said it, because I've noticed no matter what team he's coaching with, whether it's Columbus, whether it's Philly, every time the last, I would say 5 years or so, John Tortorella's teams have not had good luck at the Bell Center. They just, I don't know what it is. Like, it just seems like last year, early in the season, I think it was November last season, Montreal tied it. Cole Caulfield tied the game against Philly with like less than 2 seconds left. And John Tortorella's reaction was just hilarious. So
He's a Leafs fan right there, I can tell.
Yeah.
He's walking down the street eating a banana and
he looks lost.
And a hunk of bread, and he doesn't know where the hell he is. He's a Leafs fan.
All right, back to your standings, by the way.
Yep.
So Montreal and Arizona do have the same amount of games left, so 4 games left apiece.
Yep.
And this is the same situation as two seasons ago when we got Slafkovsky, when we got the first overall pick and got last place. Is Arizona and Montreal were battling, if you will, for last place. So that's what's going to happen again. Or not in the same position. We're going to be battling for 28th place.
But there's a bit of a lottery here too, isn't there?
What do you mean?
For the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm saying like
Yeah.
where they're going to end up percentage-wise.
Right.
We're not
For
going
the
to be
lottery.
worse than 6th pick.
Got you.
But
That's
we could
correct.
Be better.
We
But
could,
be
it's
better.
going to be 5th or 6th, and that's even just percentages. We could drop down. We could climb up. So it's all the lottery at that point. But Ottawa is tied with us actually as well. So we each have 72 points. So this game against Ottawa Saturday actually matters. And you can't go into it wanting to lose as a player. Obviously, if they win and beat Ottawa,
we want to win.
You don't.
So-
You don't play any sport to lose. That's how you actually can physically get hurt.
so
Yeah, exactly.
they
You
could end
want
up.
to play to win.
So they could end up in 7th last.
we could.
Worst case scenario for the
we
draft,
could.
anyway.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Which is not so bad.
But Arizona's got such a tough schedule going out. I can't remember the 4 games, but I looked at them. They're tough. They're probably going to lose 3 of them when I look at the schedule. Now, I mean, that could all change depending on where the teams are. Like if a team has nothing to play for example, they're going to play New York Rangers, so nothing to play for.
Right.
Then Rangers might rest a couple of their big names for the playoffs.
I
right?
understand like somebody like who did we play last night? It was Philly.
Yeah.
It might have been. It's either Philly or the Rangers. They're playing like every other night. So at that point, you
Yeah.
are going to start resting players.
Yes.
Like some teams have more intense scheduling at the end of the season than others. If you're playoff bound, you have an intense schedule, you're going to be resting players.
Yeah, and also you're going to be resting maybe your top goaltender and playing the second string guy just so that
Absolutely.
because you want to get your top guy rested. For
And
the
you
playoffs.
want to get your second string a few pucks just in case
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
to step in.
Yeah, good point, John. Good
They'll,
point.
they'll
So,
probably rest Auston Matthews so he doesn't get 70 because you don't want to get hurt for playoffs.
I don't know
No,
about that one.
because in the situation with Toronto, they
don't know
know
about that one.
No. They know that they're not going to be in the Stanley Cup final, so they want to get him as many goals as possible because that's the only thing they'll be able to talk about.
That's right.
And that's the Toronto Maple Leafs
Well,
right
that's
there.
he's got like 4 more games to the end of the season, and then 4 games in the playoffs, and that's it. That's golfing
Well,
again.
yeah. I'm sure he's got his golf schedule already set. Yeah.
He's patio ready. He's
Absolutely.
patio ready.
Absolutely.
Anyway, guys,
I've had so much fun.
this has
He'll
been
be
a
up
fun
at
show.
McGilligan's practicing his shot.
There you
Hey,
go. You'll see him right in there hammering.
you
those
got charged
golf balls.
quadruple.
There you go. Tell him he's got to wear a Habs sweater while he's swinging the club.
That's correct.
Forget about these.
Absolutely.
Prerequisite.
Anyway, but everybody, thank you for listening, and thank you,
Thank you, Drew
Deeks,
Deeks.
coming in.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure. You're going to see this video of all of us here together on YouTube on Drew Deeks' channel, and you can tell us Drew Deeks' channel.
It's on
okay.
YouTube.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you very
My
much.
brain is fried, and it's not because of drugs.
Go to Absolutely on YouTube. You'll see.
Find
it.
Absolutely. Find Drew Deeks. Find us all. We're all together. We're all
That's
one.
it.
We're all coming together as one.
Like, as the eclipse.
Time is passing.
I didn't say
like
that.
a
I was just
solar
doing it.
eclipse.
You're doing the eclipse movement.
I know you know I was. I know.
We are the world.
Thank
We
you
are
all
the
for
children.
what we are the world. We are the children. Are we gonna sing this now?
Well, we could if we wanted. We don't
Make
want
a
to.
better
We don't want to lose
place.
viewers though.
Nah, it's okay. At this point, at the end of the show, if they're still watching, we already lost some anyway. So
And thanks a lot to our listeners on Absolutely as well.
thank you all.
Thank you to the YouTube followers of Drew Deeks, his great channel, a YouTube superstar over here we have.
Yeah, more or less.
And we'll talk to you next week. Now, just because the season ends, that doesn't mean Absolutely or Drew Deeks' show ends. You know that, everybody, right?
Correct.
We continue this all summer, bringing you the latest news on prospects, on players, on Owen Beck, on everybody. So you got to
Our
keep
friend of the
tuning
show,
in.
Owen Beck.
Yeah, our friend of the show. So you got to keep tuning in to find out what's going on with your Habs, because I know you're going to be golfing and doing crap. So every Wednesday you can tune in and find out what's going on with our Habs. Right?
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Au revoir.
Merci beaucoup.
Whether Drew is going to be here or not, that's a question mark, but we're going to be here for sure.
Thank you, everybody.
Paul K. Lemire, Absolutely, down in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, right on Queen Street with our buddy Drew Deeks, acting up over here.
Doing the
he's-
Slafkovsky tongue out.
He's been eclipsed, this guy. We'll see you later. Take care, everybody.